What's up, girls? Welcome back to my channel for another Read with Anna video. We are doing a Bible reading plan. If you're new to my channel, hey, I'm Anna, and I host a Bible reading plan here on YouTube and on Twitter Monday through Friday. We started Monday, January 1, just like this beginning of this week, and it's going to go for the next 6 weeks, and then we'll take 2 weeks off and start another round. But we're reading 2 Psalms a day, 1 chapter of Proverbs a day, and 1 chapter of Isaiah today, but we started on Isaiah 40. And so today I wanted to do kind of a Read with Anna intro to Isaiah and talk with you guys about some interesting things I've been learning as I've been reading Isaiah this week. I am so excited to be studying this book in the Bible. I wanted to share a couple of resources that I used when I started studying it. One, I'm reading out of a study Bible in the New International Version instead of the New Living Translation, which is typically my favorite version to read out of, but I wanted to use a study Bible. And so there are tons of footnotes in here, and there is an intro to each new book in the Old Testament and New Testament that kind of goes through some background info on Isaiah and on like where he was and what time period and what was happening around him and who he was speaking to and all that interesting stuff. I'm loving it. For those of you who didn't know, I was a theology major in college for a couple of years before I switched to business and communications and management and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was a theology major, and so that kind of stuff really interests me. And a lot of times when I'm repetitively reading through the book of Psalms, which if you're new to my channel, you may not be aware, but we read through the book of Psalms every year, at least a couple times with this Bible reading plan that I host. And I have read through Psalms at least 10 times, at least. And so I feel like I've had a chance to really dive deep into that book, but I haven't had a chance to dive deep into Isaiah, and so that's what I'm doing. So I'm using a study Bible. The other thing I am doing is, or I did, was I watched, there's a YouTube channel called The Bible Project, and I'm not like endorsing that. I don't know a ton about them, so I'm not saying I agree with every single thing that the Bible Project says, because I don't know. But I did watch their 2 videos. They're about 8 minutes long each on the book of Isaiah. And so one of the things I've been learning as I have studied is that the book of Isaiah, it's divided into 2 sections, chapters 1 through 39 and chapters 40 through 66. And I was kind of familiar with that before, but I'm really focused on that now. And so anyway, in the first part of Isaiah, chapters 1 through 39, which we're not reading this session of Read with Anna, God talks, Isaiah talks, the voice of God talking through Isaiah, he talks a lot about how, you know, the people of God's chosen people, the people of Israel, righteousness is a theme in them. They are shortcoming. They are not making the mark when it comes to righteousness. But then in the chapters that we're reading this 6-week session, chapters 40 through 66, God talks about this hope that righteousness is coming and it's going to be a gift, that it is coming through Jesus. Isaiah doesn't use the name Jesus, but he prophesies a ton about the Messiah who's going to come. And so, yeah, so I've been reading for several different themes. I've been reading for the themes of judgment, righteousness, and hope. I have been reading for the different names that Isaiah uses in reference to God, and I've been writing them down. I tweeted about that on Tuesday morning, where the Holy One, the Redeemer of Israel, the Lord. And then I'm reading for the theme of servant, because when you're reading about the servant, what I've been studying in my study Bible, or what I've been reading in my study Bible, is that Isaiah talked a lot about this servant who is going to come and save Israel. So I have been looking and highlighting every time I read the word serving or servant, I'm marking it and I'm trying to study up on it. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm reading for. Another reason why I chose Isaiah for the Bible reading plan is because Isaiah was a really, like, before I ever studied it, I started this new mini-series on my channel on Tuesday, I believe you saw it, Tuesday night maybe, and it was, the video is all about, the next 5 weeks of that video series are about, you know, your years as a single Christian woman and dating and finding a husband and being single and all those kind of things. And I think it applies to anyone from age like 12 up till age 50, 60, I don't know. If you're a single Christian woman, or if you're a married Christian woman who has single friends or single daughters, single nieces, I think you can get something from that series. But when I was in that phase of life from about 18 to 25, I wasn't married yet, Isaiah was a book of the Bible that I found so much inspiration from. God spoke to me a lot from that book, especially chapters 40 through 66. And I just felt a lot of strength because Isaiah would talk about how God would strengthen his people. He would, he would be with them. His right hand would uphold them. He would sustain them. And sometimes when you're a single Christian woman and you feel like giving up hope, like, am I ever going to meet the man of my dreams? Am I ever going to get married? You feel weakness sometimes, like, oh, this is exhausting, or, oh, I just want to give in and date this guy. Can't I just settle and like get this show on the road? Or, just different things you're going through. So I hadn't dove deep into Isaiah yet, but I was getting a lot from it. And so now that I'm doing more of an in-depth study, it's cool to see how chapters 40 through 66 have a lot to do with hope, that God's promise is going to be fulfilled, that God's promise of a gift of righteousness, that God's promise of a Messiah, it was being given, and he was giving them hope. And I think hope is a lot of what we need as women to keep going, and men, Christians. We need that hope to help fuel us, to help us keep going when things are a little bit difficult and challenging. And so I'm getting a lot from the reading, and those were just some things that I thought would be fun to share with you all. And I wanted to say, this is kind of how I did my reading this past week, is I read it out of the NIV. I would just read the chapter. So here's how I do my read with Anna. I would read the Psalms and Proverbs for the day. Then I would go to Isaiah in my study Bible, and I would read the chapter, just sit down and read it, not stop, not pause, but just read it. Then I would go through and read every footnote in my study Bible that applied to each verse in that chapter. And if it gave a reference for where another scripture connected to it, I would go and look that up a lot of times. Then I would get my spiral as I was doing that and make notes about things that were really standing out to me. Because for me, writing stuff down helps me to really soak it in, think about it, analyze it, keep it in the front of my heart and mind. Then I would take, it's not in here, it's in the living room because I was reading earlier today, but I would read it in the Message version because I'm not like the biggest fan of the Message, but I think it says things in a very like sharp, modern way, and I like to read it. And I'm also interested in reading it in comparison to a more traditional version, just to kind of see like the areas that they overlap, and then the areas that maybe the meaning is kind of missed, or the area the meaning is emphasized. I think that's just interesting. And I've been highlighting, like I said, taking notes, and yeah, that's what I've been doing. So those are just some of the things that I've been doing with the book of Isaiah for this Read with Anna round 1 for 2018. And I'd love to hear what you've been getting from Isaiah as you've been reading, or Psalms or Proverbs. And yeah, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Anna Willemstein if you want to see more. And that's about it for this video. I know it was a little bit random, but I just wanted to share with you guys what I was getting from the Isaiah reading and how I was doing it and stuff like that, and my whole reasoning behind doing it. So anyway, I will talk to you guys next week in another video. Pray for me as I'm about to have this baby. And yeah, I will see you guys soon. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.